talk here about amateur radio, ham radio, or ham radio. I guess I mentioned the history of ham radio. You can hear this thing. It's a cell phone recording thing. History of ham radio. If you Google it, you find out, yeah, the government allowed allocated some frequencies that amateurs could use for possible, whatever communications, disaster relief, whatever. And you have a license for different bands, and you have to study, and you have to take a test, and all that. That's not the history of ham radio. The real history of ham radio, that's the government view. If everyone's out camping in the forest and watching for the bears and doing a field day and set up preparedness for, some zombie apocalypse or something. Not the case. Ham radio for people who are interested in radio, the magic of communication without wires. There's nothing there than air, right? It's fun. Walkie talkies, CB radios, and there's ham radio, which really takes the fun out of it. I mean, back in its day, CB radio was probably as good as it gets for experimenters in two-way communication stuff. Okay, but we're talking about ham radio. So ham radio is someone wanted to get on the air, talk on the radio, and they built some sort of contraption and hook up some kind of contraption antenna to it, and they would talk. Well, today ham radio is about clubs, frequencies, channels, latest, greatest ICOM equipment. You have to have high microphones and stuff. And you can check in with your net. It's like just allow, or you can contest. You can react to in the middle of the night if you want. A few people still do that. But you can't really have any fun with it. So I don't see why people would still do it. If you do have any fun with it, yeah, they get a channel snitch or something that reports you to the government. Oh no, they get severe fines or whatever in there. You don't want to do that. No. Basically, you're limited to having absolutely no fun whatsoever. You'll have to use your call sign after taking a test, getting all the equipment. You'll have to use your call sign and check into your net, and that's it. And these net clubs and stuff, not nightclubs, net clubs, they take the fun out of it too, because they claim a channel, they have a certain frequency that's theirs. They have these powwow get-togethers and club meetings and whatever. But you're only allowed to, say or do or whatever what's accepted by them. They are, professionals in charge. And anything other than that is, yes, I mean, show you the door, outcast, get out of here and stuff. Well, let's get into ham radio here. It's no fun. Um, I'm a ham operator. I don't use it. I never talk on the radio. It's just you're collecting dust. So really expensive too. I got the cheap one. But some of the people in ham radio, okay. In fact, most of them. And you'll notice when you see a ham radio club, these guys are geezers. There's very old people in there. Yeah, computers and high tech and stuff taking over. But it still doesn't take the fun out of radio. You can still DX anywhere in the world, I guess. So what is ham radio? Ham radio is for kids. You decide you want to talk on the radio. You hear about ham radio, and you study. You get your license, and you want your radio. So you hit the library, look at schematics, and try to read up on radio and stuff, and you build something like you have to have CW, of course. So you build a code practice oscillator, and you breadboard the thing, or you build an oscillator, which is your basic transmitter, and you breadboard the thing. And where does breadboard come from? From breading the board, those little white things with the chips sticking in, the LEDs lit up in little connector wires. No, breadboard was basically a joke because early radios would take an actual board, draw the schematic you want to draw, you know what circuit you want, take an actual board, put little bitty nails in the board, set the parts on there, solder it on there, and that was the radio. That's a breadboard. Um, there's a trick to it. There's a better way of doing it. You have balsa wood and straight pins. You draw your schematic. You put straight pins where all the connectors are. You put on all your parts. Now, what's better about that is you get one of those circuit board perf board things. All those pins fit right through the holes. Clip all of them except for one on each corner. So hold it in there. You can set it up on this little whatever thingies inside the box. Just hook up your knob switches, meters, and your input output connectors and stuff, and it's the radio. That's a breadboard. A breadboard is where you actually put nails in a board. And when you run out of boards, the breadboard will work. It used to be a cutting board for bread, like chopping board, whatever. So your mission, should you decide to accept it if you belong to an amateur radio club of any kind, is do the historic classical method. Design a circuit for a code practice oscillator. Put it on the breadboard I described and build it. Have you ever done that? No. AMs don't do that. They buy things. If they make things, it's just an add-on peripheral of some kind. There are hams, but it's like percentage-wise, if you take any amateur radio club, it's like 1 or 2% that can actually build anything. I mean, you get like extra class ticket. It used to be advanced. The extra class ticket, and you can't build a radio. Parts used to be expensive too. So you get a kid. He built a co-practice oscillator. Then he builds an oscillator for transmitter. And the receiver, he can build a receiver and it's tunable, but it's not much past the crystal. Then he has to build an amplifier that where you can amplify the sound and some way of hooking the sound up to the transmitter if you want to hook it up there and you have like AM broadcast, not broadcast, but transmit. 3 basic circuits. Code practice oscillator, breadboard one, designed it, draw schematic, breadboard it, don't copy anyone's stuff. Now, the oscillator, you learn about oscillators. There's like 3 or 4 different kinds. Each one has a particular name. And their names are varied depending on the feedback method. Different feedback methods, oscillator. Right, so that's your transmitter. Now, your receiver is your basic crystal detector tunable thing. And stick an amplifier on so you can hear it on the speaker. So you have a code practice oscillator. You have a small transmitter, and you have a receiver. Now, traditionally, for historic ham radio actual history of it, the receivers were never built. Kid didn't take spare parts, or they were expensive, spare parts or whatever, and build a receiver because it was too complicated. When you get to a mixer and an IF, it requires arithmetic. At least adding and subtracting frequencies or something. So the basic receiver, so you can build a receiver on, you can do a breadboard, you can build a receiver. You can do a breadboard, you can build a CW transmitter. You can modulate it. And you can build a code practice oscillator. Now, all of them, you can put amplifiers on. You'd be able to build an amplifier circuit. Now, you can use tubes or you can use transistors. Do not use chips. Yeah, start with the basics. Code practice oscillator. Makes little beeping noise. The transmitter, basic CW output, some kind of oscillator. Maybe the amplifier stage if you want to get fancier. Know some real good technical stuff. And a AM radio. And it has to be tunable, and you put an amplifier on it if you want the sound output without headphones or something. You also know what a long wire antenna is and what a ground might be. Dipole antenna is okay too, but you got a feed line in the middle. You can just like toss a wire over to something. You don't want a feed line coming up the middle of it. You want on the edge. So you have a long wire antenna. You should have that down. That's the basics of ham radio. Be able to draw a schematic. Be able to breadboard a code practice oscillator, a transmitter, and a receiver. Now, you can build radio equipment. You have some basic knowledge of building actual radio equipment. Now, actually do that. And you think, why do I need that? You don't need it. What you need is the skills to be able to do that. That's pretty basic amateur radio stuff. I don't know why you call it amateur radio anyway. I mean, you're about as pro as anywhere else. I mean, what's a pro radio? It's got a station, it's got commercials, rock and roll or something. 50,000 watts. Big antenna tower. Giant transmitter. It's on 24 hours a day. But an amateur is what? A lesser of some kind? No, it's just a smaller station used for a different purpose. Now, if you want to camp out in your tent watching for bears and practicing for the next zombie apocalypse, ain't fine. If you want to have a club, clubs running things. Actually, they're okay, to get together and have some friends and whatever. But when you start like controlling things from the position, group controlling things, no, that's really bad. CB radio was fine, back in the day. Hillbilly horn, hillbilly intercom, hillbilly telephone, hillbillies, just regular common people. It was fun. Instead of a walkie-talkie, you have a base station. I mean, it's like prefab setup. You don't have to carry it around. Just grab your D104, which became a chicken choker later. Odd microphone. But it's cool, classical and traditional. And you talk to your friend or neighbor, and they got the radio on, and you talk back and forth like it's nothing. Anyone else wants to listen to me? Fine with me. But then it became truck driver radio. And it's not ham radio, it's some lesser medium of some kind. TXA was illegal, but who cares? They switched the sideband and narrowed everything down. Variable frequencies. CB was more fun than ham radio. Ham radio is fun for some things, but if they're more technical, ham radio is expensive. So you got your co-practice oscillator, your breadboarded it. Okay, set it there. You got yourself that trophy. No, you got your oscillator. It's sitting there. Okay, trophy number two. Your receiver, which you probably could have done when you were a kid. Trophy number three. And your amplifier. Hey, you can put that wherever you want to. Now your D104 microphone, the Chicken Joker, has an old-timey like frequency selection crystal with a piece sticking to it on one side, and it hooks up to it the thinnest piece of tinfoil. It is his little groove that separates it from the little, what's it? It's about the size of an old plastic tank jar cap. And it would go down through some reed switching, which is like just strips of insulation between them. They connect up. And they would hook up to a two transistor circuit, preamp and amp, right? No, the first one's an FET. It's a little bit more sensitive, and the second one is an emitter follower, which means it's emitter output, which is a little bit more stable. And there was also a coil that goes in just before that, just in case the phase is just slightly off. It gives it a little extra amplifier booster. And it would sound tinny. No, it did not sound tinny. The reason it sounded tinny is because they came up with an improved modified with a chrome base called a Silver Eagle. And the circuit in it is just your basic modulator, two transistor circuits. And when you put all that together, it just sounds tinny. Those are D104s. No, the original D104, whatever, 108 or whatever it was. Yeah, it was a FET emitter follower cord. And it would hook up to any radio. Not too much modification. So those were nice. Standard, everyone had one. Ham radios do not use such low-class junk. They're tinny and they scratchy sounding. They use high-ohm microphones. Guy, what's his name? I mentioned him. He knows which. There is such thing as a ribbon microphone, but it requires an electronic circuit for the thing to come out and have it be a linear output. Like, you can't have a microphone without an amplifier. A D104 will work without the amp. But, like I said, everyone says it's tinny and they don't use it. Used to have Turner Plus 2 as sale for CB radio. That was the dynamic one with a little coil plastic part, a little bass heater. What was wrong with it is a desk mic, and you have to like sit there and concentrate and put your hand down on it. You couldn't grab the thing and start talking or something. Big difference. I mean, it didn't sound bad. It looked very nice. It sounded okay. But it's just so collectible. D104s should be collectibles, but you can't find one that's original. Plus, they cost more now than they used to cost when they were new. Okay, D104 microphone. What's that got to do with anything? I don't know. Let's just talk about old CB radio, so. But we're talking about ham radio. So, the idea is to build your own equipment in ham radio. If you can't build your own equipment, how can you call yourself a ham? Okay, so you got radio clubs. Radio clubs, when they have their meetings and whatever, and they use a radio, it varies what they're using. You know, someone's expensive icon or something rather, and someone's whatever aerial stuck in a tree somewhere type of thing. Or maybe they brought a giant set of beams and a crank up tower back in their pickup truck. Uh, they don't have a club radio. You should have a club radio. You got all that brain power, all that money wise to buy all that equipment. You should take your club and build a radio for the club. So you go there and there's the club's radio. Use it whenever you have your meetings and stuff. But like I said, 1 or 2% in almost every amateur radio club. They are amateurs. They are now. And they can't build a radio. The best radios I sold to was at Humberland, I think it was. Yeah, there's a Helicraft. There's one of the two. It is the most sensitive, most tightest, most whatever peakingest, biggest, heaviest radio around. Where do you think that thing came from? Some amateur radio decided, hey, he wanted a good radio, so he built one. Everyone else liked it, and they bought one. Now, if you have a club radio or other club equipment, and it's good, I'll bet you people would be buying it. Your club could actually afford your barbecues and picnics and stuff. Someone doesn't have a radio, needs to get in. Yeah, you could hook them up, show them how to build it or something. But you need a club radio, like a radio station. Kind of damn radio station, you know, like full rack sitting there or something. You got his tune and load and whatever, his coil pack, its modulation stage, its amplifier stage, its I don't know, frequency stage, and receive, yeah, the whole bit. Antenna, you should have a club antenna. If you're able to have a set of beams, it's too small because the frequencies are, you know, pretty long. Unless you only talk like 7 megahertz or something, which is okay. So you should be able to build a radio. Now, how do you start building a radio? You see them trophies you built over there? You haven't built one yet. Build it. You need that. You just built a radio of some kind. It's the kitty radio. Alright, you did that stage. Now, the reason I didn't say is not to use chips. I know you can buy a better one, no question there. But you don't use chips because what circuit is inside the chip? That's why you don't use chips. But it's smaller, it's newer, and everyone uses it. You should change the caps first thing. Yeah, no. If you look up the circuit in for a chip, you find it's only an equivalent circuit, and it has parts that don't exist except maybe on another planet. Like how many leads go into that thing, and where is it going from there? It's like a Korean schematic of some kind. The schematic should be laid out like your circuit, like your code practice oscillator, and you do the straight schematic for it, and the circuit looks like the schematic, or your oscillator, transmitter, and the circuit looks like the schematic, or your radio receiver, and its circuit looks like the schematic. A chip is a prefab circuit, and who knows where it came from, what it's used for, who wants it. Yes, it can do miraculous tricks, it can do magic, and it can do miracles and all this other stuff, but you don't want it because it's not your circuit. Now, if you understand the circuit and you don't mind going down to little teeny tiny monolithic connection, yeah, okay. But it's too hard to work with. It's someone else's stuff. You didn't invent it. You didn't design it. It's not yours. Now, your little trophy things you build on your little breadboard things, or yes, to actually build the thing is is an actual design that you have that is yours. Whatever you built is your design, your radio, how it works, it's yours. Not someone else's. You invented it. You built it. If you build a radio, you should build it the same way. I know you can buy a better one. You don't have time to mess around with this little toy stuff. And you're in that 1% group that really knows your stuff. Yeah, well, take inventory. How much do you really know? Write it down. Now, find out what you don't know and hit the library or something. Do not Google things. They don't know anything about ham radio. You can't find it in your library? Go to a library near a college. Do not go down to your downtown library. You'll just get lost. And it's too big. The college libraries have anything near a college library has some of the best stuff around. You'll find it there. Look up what you don't know and just write down everything you do know about it. Like a particular part or circuit or something. Yeah, take inventory. Build it up. It's hard. That's how you do it though. You want to design good equipment. You can use chips if you know what the chips are, but it's not yours if you use it and you don't know what they are. Do not copy someone else's circuits. Never. What you want your signals to do, you design the circuit to do it, to make your signal, whatever. Okay, that's still the basics. That's the very history of hidden radio. Uh, you get your basic stuff together. Usually they get some kid and get a receiver. So he's got his transmitter, he's got as much power as he can. He's got CW or he's modulating it. How to modulate a signal. If you have something emitting a CW signal and you hook your stereo speakers to it, you'll get music going through it. If you hook an amplifier and microphone, you'll get your voice going through it. That's how to modulate it. You can modulate it low or you can modulate high. You can modulate anywhere you want to in the CW producing part. Frequency modulating is a little bit different. Sideband is a little bit different too. Oh, you want to make an FM receiver? That's good too. In regards to diodes, it used to be the IN24 was a diode. Now it's the IN34. It's new and improved. These cost 12 cents. Now you don't package them for a dime. Parts are cheaper. You can build anything you want to now. I used to be pretty good. I fix anything. Um, schematic or something for reverse engineer or whatever necessary. And draw a schematic off the circuit. Currently, I'm having trouble getting a power supply to work. Get a transformer. There's a burnt out supply. I think a transformer is still good. Get a bridge. Get a filter capacitor. Transistor controller. Senior diode. No, I can't figure out how to get the senior diode to work under all the current conditions to control a transistor to only put out the voltage I want or variable. Loser. Yeah, I'm not pretty good right now. Looks like kitty scratch or something when I start messing with stuff. Used to be good. So you get your basic ham junk down. Now, yeah, basically now you're a ham kid. Yeah, I'm a geezer, but yeah, your level is still ham kid. Now, once you know the circuits, then now you're a ham radio operator. You can take your Icon, your HY box, your IO microphone, and your, I don't know, loop antenna make all sorts of noise on your frequency with your net check-ins and whatever. I mean, Rag Q at night or Contest DX. Life's too short for CW. Yeah, it means you don't know CW because CW is usually done about as fast as people talk. It's like talking back and forth. And that's with a streak. So you want to design your radio. Radio basically, if you lean a tuner against an antenna, you got a signal detector. Sideband, you have to clip off, it's polarized. No, it's not an adjacent frequency, it's the same frequency as polarized. It's just ham radio is now set up that sidebands are on the side. Mm. And people don't even know it. That's a ham radio operator today. You don't have a club radio, you can't build a club radio. No kidding. Tell you something else. If you're having your barbecue ribs at your club, whatever get together, you don't even know how to make barbecue ribs. The current trend is toward slow cooking and rub. Yeah, taste rub. Can you adjust the flavor? No. You need barbecue sauce. If you're gonna turn your rub into barbecue sauce first, where you can taste it's right, then put it on there. Plus, it's all dried out, and there's no like carbon burnt areas from the sauce. You can't even barbecue right. Can't do CW, can't barbecue right, can't build a radio circuit. But they got money. Yeah, and I never gonna get. Tell you about my money. I used to be able to get jobs anywhere. Be able to do anything. Never had a problem with it. I worked for myself, not a problem. Girlfriend had a job, no problem. Got it made. Didn't have a lot of credit, but had money. So currently, I couldn't get a job anywhere if I wanted to. My girlfriend split right off with some other guy in grandmother's day or something. I got used to that girlfriend a long time. I think we have known her. It's like a wife thing. We were gonna get married too, and she runs off. I guess she decided I'm not the best guy in the world. She can go find better type of yeah, stupid girl stuff. People are people. Countries are countries are full of people. It's about the people, not the company. Oh yeah, in a company, it's like the company you keep. Is it a good company? Is there good people in the company? It's a good company. Some guy told me that when he was right. Always check with the people who work there before you decide to allow them to give you a paycheck. Hey, you ever take your paycheck and go to the store and see what it'll purchase? Yeah. I work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and this is what I can get for it. I'm like, whoa, that's bad. Yeah, you gotta save all this stuff up in credit. Oh, my money situation. I had a welfare check. Yeah, it sucks, but that's what I do. And guess what? They shut the thing off. I don't get a welfare check now. So what am I supposed to do? It turns out that I had an account that was set up so I could save money in it. But my welfare check specifies without the account set up properly, you can't save money up to a certain amount. And I had over that amount for over a couple of years. I had standby money there. Yeah, that's stupid. Uh, and it turns out they check the account, they don't see any special account, anything on there. There's no proof of that. So they counted it as being like back order thing. For all the time that I had more money than I was supposed to in there, I wasn't supposed to be getting money from them, so they wanted it all back for like a couple of years, and they shut it off. I was abusing it or something. You can't save money. They explained to me it's supposed to be like a welfare check. You're supposed to be poor. You can't save money. You can't have money. You should, some nonsense. And I don't qualify for it anymore because I didn't have it for a year. Now I'm not going to have it for 2 years, and they want thousands of dollars. Like, right? You want me to declare bankruptcy? It's probably going to cost you. There's no way I got that money. I was using the stuff. They can't figure it out. It's a government system. Idiots. So I don't need a welfare check anymore. I get something going. Technology is all outdated. No, I do not want to figure out how to use a microscope and a pair of tweezers while searching with infrared with anything that's heated up and changing the caps first. No, I'm not into that. As for changing the caps, people, yes, we put new set of caps on there. Have you ever seen where the um, exact specs on the cap were necessary in a circuit? Depends on the designer, and all the rest of the stuff. I mean, take your multimeter and put it across the cap. If it moves slow when you reverse the leads, it's big, and it's probably right. Or if it moves fast, it's probably small. Transistor running off the base or something. Goes in one direction, not the other. The other base, the collector, same deal. If you want to change something, change the semiconductors, the ones that burn out first, not caps. Caps aren't critical for perfect value in the circuit anyway. But, people are in the peanut gallery, everyone's on the same bandwagon. That's the right way of doing things. I almost got zapped. Well, actually, I did get zapped. I was in this engineering department. I was the head of it. Well, I'm the head of it yet. And I made the company a bunch of money in my first day. And they gave me the head of the department's position, a bunch of money. And I was working on some stuff as a power supply, the newer version. In case you're wondering how the newer versions work, they convert it to DC first. Yeah, there's a bridge. Then they put an oscillator on it, like those inverter things. Then they step it up or down, move it around and around, and it goes. Yeah, and then they put another regulator and bridge and regulator on it. Yeah, it stays cooler. It's like one of those hybrid boards. Don't go near that thing. It's got very high voltage right now. It's not safe at all. Guy said, "Yeah, check the caps. Oh, the caps are bad on this thing." Yeah, here, try that. I got saps on that thing. That's nasty. So he claimed I didn't know what the heck I was doing and I got zapped. And he got his job back. I only worked there one day. Made $5 grand doing it though. I didn't give none to them. Zap you. Yeah. They couldn't fix the stuff. They had old staff and sitting there and couldn't fix them. Had no clue what they were doing. Yeah, you sure you have experience? I know I don't know anybody. Here, let me help. No, do not. Okay, what is it talking here? Engineering and scientists and stuff, whatever. Medical equipment design. I'm not very good at design. I'll fix the stuff. I don't like him at all. I just trace the signals. It's simple. Most people don't even own a scope and you trace the signal without it. You look at multimeter checking points and changing the capacitors, looking for things that might be broken. Now, the infrared scope If you're gonna look at it with infrared, it's a good indicator. But every time it'll be a semiconductor. And if it's a resistor, it's because the semiconductor is shorted. You want to replace junk, you replace tubes, semiconductors, anything that's obviously batteries really will go wrong. Yeah. Something someone's worked on usually, yeah, those things change. You trace the signal, you don't trace. Look at the parts and quality and what date and what year and where in Japan. Oh, yeah, speaking of Japan, Korean schematics. You ever see a Sam's Photo Fact schematic? Yeah, they're laid out in normal order. And the signal progression through the circuits and stuff. Power supply over here, signal goes here. So, yeah, they don't do that, especially in their chips and stuff. It's all Korean schematic. Yeah. The design is straight. It's like your oscillators and your regular receiver and stuff. But the Koreans and they squish it all down. They stick it on the board and it's all in Greek and stuff. And hiccups here. Um, so ham radio sucks. I don't want to check into that. I don't want to eat bad barbecue. I don't want to talk to people who have IHY boxes that can't build a radio. Life is too short for CW. What kind of nerds are there? Some place in Denver that knows what they're doing. It's all CW. And plus they're geezers and fogies and stuff. One's got his dog with him. That's nice. It's a good time, it's a miniature collie or something. So why do people have it? Oh, it's a dog. Why do big people marry fat girls? It's a grown. It's yours. You're stuck with it. She likes you. Likes good hot dogs and pizza too. Speaking of pizza, did you know that if you took a Domino's pizza and you scrape all the cheese and stuff like to eat separately and you put peanut butter and jelly on it, it's better than the pizza? Weird but true. Pizza, yeah, used to be. It's supposed to be good. It's not. How to make a good pizza sauce, good pizza dough, good pizza cheese, and even how to make good pizza sausage. And then again, there's ribs. They stay moist if you wrap them in tin foil when you're barbecuing. You can barbecue the last part for get the sauce to burn, get layered burnt and layered unburned. So building your club radio, you'll need a rack. You'll need people who know how to build any kind of radio equipment, and then you're going to need some really cool circuits. I mean, you want a good one, right? Really cool circuit. You can include anything you want to in it, and you put it together, mix and match. You can improve on it, work on it, but your club will have a radio. So when you go have to get your get together, there will be a radio sitting there. You don't have to bring a bunch of junk, and you can do normal stuff, and you have a good radio. You have good tuners to the system, so you could have any peripheral junk. And yeah, if anyone wants it for sale for cheap, you can get them on. You can toss some kit parts together, kit. Online, you get circuit boards made for anything. You can go that route too once you get your designs and stuff right. You have to breadboard stuff to get it to work. Yeah, mix and match and modify stuff. So what else about ham radio? You know those losers that when you're checking into the net and they're trolling and stuff, jammers, interferers. You should let them in there. They have their place. Except them as being, yeah, that's one of our weird ones. channel boss and channel snitch, and this is our channel. You're interfering with nah. They have channels now. It's not you can't just tune the frequency. No, it has a channel, and there's an upper side and a lower side, and it's all sideband. Take your sideband radio, like say a Kenwood. Take the crystal out of the upper and lower, and just use the AM crystal. It doesn't have an AM crystal. Just use the center crystal and hook the AM or the upper and the lower sideband together, and you'll have what's it called? The modulation control AM, control carrier AM, very efficient one. If you want to, you can use that or a single sideband and run CW on it too. Did you know CW runs on sideband way further than CW runs on AM? Same as sideband. You know, you can take all the old ones, they have tubes for the amp, but that's it. Put a transistor amp in it. You want to, you put your switching power supply in it. Be lighter weight, big transformers. You don't need the two power things you can do with the radio. But you have an icon, it has a scope, and it's real pretty, and it doesn't have a tuning circuit in it. You still need an antenna tuner. All radios have antenna tuners built into them. It's not a big deal. Radio don't care. When you're tuning it up, it tunes right to the antenna. Wire to the wire. The light bulb lights up real quick. If you're going to get an amplifier, there's two kinds you can get. If you want a low power amp, you get the regular tubes. You want the high power, you want the ceramic thing in the big fan. Single tube. You don't want two, just one. And you want a higher rating than what you can be using it as. Why? That way you're not going to burn it out, is why. If you'll notice, like professionals, not amateurs whatsoever, yeah, their stations will be using running lower power than they're capable of at all times. Yeah, keeps the circuits from burning, runs it nice and cool. So you have a club radio station, you have a club antenna. You're starting to like question the barbecue and get some better stuff there. Geezers and fogies. When you started ham radio, were you a geezer or a fogey? Yeah, well, you're still a geezer or fogey. But if you were a kid, every time you mess with your ham radio, you're getting younger. Yeah, just state of mind and stuff. Or just center guru stuff, something going on. Physiology, yeah. No, there's some complex junk there. Yeah, the circuits are complex. Yeah, you should see natural order creation stuff. Plants, any biosystems, the fish, algae, whatever junk. Complex systems. God made those. No, there's no God. Well, then, I don't know, nature made them. They just fell together and hooked up or something or other. Man didn't make it, though. If man made it, it'd be robotics. Oh, yeah, that's another thing here. Computers. Oh, yeah, man did not make it because it'd be robotics. Man can't get a robot to think or walk or anything yet. And then they give me one of those female bots. Those are nice. You don't have to be like responsible for anything. You don't have to. Yeah, no responsibility whatsoever. Uh, yeah, I've got computers designed by a couple German faggots. Can I say the F word? Of course I can. German faggots uh, somehow hooked up to the government and their scientists and engineers. And they worked on it for a long time, longest time. And we're in the military trying it out, trying to get it to work that something work in computers. Then they tried the post office, some power companies, and what were the other things they used to, IBM, yeah, things they used to spit out the cards and stuff. And they worked on it hard. They knew it was something cool. Now you can go on the internet. You can talk to your buddy if you want to on it. You run 3 programs and play a game of chess all at the same time, while recording a video, of course, without it coming in conflict or anything. You're like, whoa, that's really cool. It does do miracles, and it does it exactingly. You take your sound and you modify stuff. So it is a good thing. Gates or something and his friends in the garage. His dad was an IBM engineer. The guy was like from Harvard or suburbanites and stuff. I mean, some people work on their hobbies in the garage and basically they'll stay in their garage and collect dust over the years, but their stuff just happens to be right stuff. So you have your personal computers now and your cell phones, one of which I am recording on right now. So, ham radio, you got to be able to build your own circuits. If you can't build your stuff, you shouldn't be on the air. You can't be on the air, and you're not a ham radio operator. I mean, because there are professional radio stations doesn't mean you have to be a lesser of some kind. You can do anything anyone else can. And they're not made differently. And I'm sure from the clubs I've seen, geezers and bogies, they have money. That equipment costs, and they have that equipment. They're competitive. That's how you have the best and finest that money can buy stuff. Latest, the greatest. But they don't have a club station. Um, so if you can't build it, you can't use it. You don't have one. Yeah, think of it that way. You got your basic kid ham radio stuff going, and you looking at building an actual radio. You should not Google because you'll get the capacitor change and the IHY box and some calculus stuff that no one understands. Newton barely understood it. It's good for predicting where the Starlink satellite's going to be. Find out what you do know about, your parts and your electronic stuff. Take an inventory. Pick up what you don't know. Yeah, try to stay ahead of on top and stuff. And build yourself a nice radio for your club. And do some side sales or something. Could be talking about guitar music here. I don't like guitars that much. It's a string instrument. Notes 1 through 7. Minors with the drop third, 6. Mixolydian on the 5th. 1 4 5 for the whatever. Full scales with the relative minor leading for the stairway stuff. Their drums, their voice, singing. Yeah, whatever. Ham radio's supposed to be fun. It's a hobby. But you have to be like really technical to be in it. It's not like I just bought the best. I understand it, of course I do understand. Take your inventory and see if you actually do. But just keep it to yourself. Even if you do, after you do that, you will be better for it. Yeah. Regardless of what you are now. You will be better as a result of doing that inventory or building those breadboards. So you design and build your own circuits, whatever you want. Okay, what else? Ham radio. You have to have an amplifier. I'm sure it interferes with your neighbors. You have to have a spread to set up a good antenna. That's another one. You have to have mucho bucks in order to buy the radio equipment, and of course you have to pay the power bill. It'd be nice to have your own integrated power supply at the house. I mean, if you got an electric car, I mean, look at washing machine motors. That old clunky thing. Yeah, look at the newer ones. It does the same thing. It's way more efficient. Someone thought it out now, but you're still using copper wires, which melt down. And you put one on each wheel of the car. So if you had an electric car, which I don't suggest having just yet until they change the batteries from the explosive lithium to something else, and you plug it in at home, you got a generator or something, self-contained. Yeah, that'd be worth doing. Alright, back to ham radio. Building antennas. You should build an antenna lab. I mean, scale it down or something. Did you know that the radio signal comes off an antenna at 30 degrees? Not like the book says. Yeah, you know that if you tried an antenna lab. I get into that and tell you some other stuff, but I don't want to get the government pissed off for having better stuff than they ever. Yeah, they got no clue. It takes them years and scientists to do what Gates and his friends in the garage done. Yeah, I mean it's good stuff, but it took them a long time. And then again, yeah, Germany's Vegas. Yeah. You know, Hitler caused that. The Jews caused Hitler. No, excuse, Jewish girlfriend caused it. I don't want to get into that because I'd be making jokes and people keep getting pissed off about it. So I will conclude this hour-long. What do you say? Doesn't know anything and argue about it and all this other stuff, and everybody knows that the internet is outdated. Yeah, my technology is outdated. That's true. But this could conclude my bitching, I guess it is, about amateur radio. What shouldn't we call amateur radio? Ham? Okay. This